Actually, my relationship with Emporia State is interesting because when I was in high school, as I said, I was in a class of 18 students, and about half of us were girls. A lot of the girls were going to nursing training, and I really didn't have anything that I was going to do in particular. I didn't really know what I was going to do. And one day in the spring, my principal called me in, and he said, "Shirley, you're going to go to college." And he said, "You're going to be a teacher, and you're going to go to Kansas State Teachers College in Emporia." And he said, "I'm going to fill out your forms." And that was the beginning of my experience at Emporia State. Well, I was hired by 501, and they, of course, place you in your school, and so they placed me at State Street. And I was here all 50 years, which is unusual, but it was great for me because I bonded with the community, and State Street is a lower economic school, and it has diverse cultural opportunities, and really and truly my greatest accomplishments are, of course, obviously the teaching was the greatest accomplishment, but the activities that I could provide my kids. I think because I didn't have a lot of activities to be involved in when I was a kid, and I saw the students here not have the opportunity to do lots of things, and so I started an after-school homework help tutoring program. We started a sports club. We started a theater. We started a student leadership group, and they would do things like recycling and help plant things outside, and give tours of the school, and just activities like that. One of the things that I think that is my greatest accomplishment is that I gave kids the opportunity to go on field trips. And maybe that's because of my background, but that always was my favorite day. And we would raise money. We'd sell burritos because obviously that works in this area. They knew how to make them. And we'd get together on a Saturday or Friday night and Saturday and make burritos, and which we had already pre-sold, and raised money. And we went to places like the Cosmosphere at Hutch. We went to Steamboat of Arabia in Kansas City. We took a tour of Chiefs Stadium. We went to Royal Stadium, took them to a Royals game. And this we paid for with the money. And we went to different high school. A lot of kids hadn't been to high school games. We went to high school games. We went to college games. We went to nice restaurants. There's a restaurant in Kansas City called V's, which is an Italian restaurant, and we went there. And of course, that was unusual for them because it had it had the cloth napkins, and they didn't know what they were for, and they were like, "Can we use these?" You know. But one of the funniest experiences was we were at V's, and this little guy came up to me and he said, "Miss J," he said, "I know this is a fancy restaurant." I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because they're playing elevator music." So that told him it was a fancy restaurant. But those were all experiences that these kids had never had. And that's the thing. When they come back, they always say, "I remember when we went." And so and as I look at them as they become adults, I just feel like that's one of my greatest accomplishments, was that I offered them opportunities to see things and do things that they hadn't done. Well, first of all, I want to thank Emporia State for what it's done for me, because I wouldn't be where I am now if it hadn't been for Emporia State. I mean, that's just a fact. They had great instructors, great staff. It was a great place to go to school. And to me, it was huge coming from a class of 18, but I'm sure to other people it's not. But I just think that you have to be proud of what Emporia State is and what it's done, because I'm certainly thankful for everything it did for me. If you're an education major, and that's, of course, where my heart is, the first thing I would say is that it's not an 8-to-4 job, and you're not in it for the money. Hopefully that'll improve, but at this point you're not. You have to be in for the kids, the love of your students, and the love of providing them experiences, and to be able to bring out in them what Emporia State brought out in me, kind of. And I think you can't go into teaching saying, well, watching the clock, saying it's almost time to go home. You can't go into teaching saying, well, I don't get paid to do that. Because it's the love of teaching and the love of your students and the love of learning that you want to, that's why you go into it. That's what you want. I'm Shirley Johannsen, known to my students as Miss J, and I'm a Hornet.